my name is Greg Ellis, and welcome to Redskin Review. This show is the fourth of the season, and it's being taped on Wednesday, September 15th. And the Redskins stand at 3-0 after this week's big 33-8 win over Boone County. So we'll talk about that game, and we'll talk about this week's game against National Power Glenville is right. Glenville at home Saturday night. With me as always, Dan Albers, Coach Geesting. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
And Coach, you're 3-0 at this point, but you go into a game against an improved, undefeated Boone County team, and you told us last week in Redskin Review you wanted to get up on them, 27-0 at halftime.
Yeah, we were able to get a quick start. You know, we didn't know what to expect over there. I knew the field wouldn't be in great shape. He had told me that, and it wasn't. It was in bad shape, and we were playing on grass, which we hadn't been on, but we seemed fine with it. And then, they were 2-0. They had some confidence. We had heard, people that were talking to some of their people, they felt like they had a chance to beat us, and I was just real happy with how we took the first drive and scored. And we hit a little lull on offense at the end of the first quarter and into the second, but then we really picked it up quite a bit, and defensively played very well to get off the field and not let them control the clock with their running game. So, it was a good win for us going over there.
Saw a lot of different formations, a lot of different things, and like you said, in the first quarter you kind of had that lull or whatever, but the second quarter you really came on. It seems like your offense was really playing really well in that first half.
Yeah, they were. They were able to move the ball. They eliminated mistakes, and they had a lot of things working for them. Formation-wise, they were able to formation Boone County a little bit and get some guys where they wanted to get them, and so that they could be successful, which was, I think, a big key to the game, and establish our running game and get some confidence for the offensive line and the running backs, and then Nick threw the ball well, so it was a great performance by him.
And we've talked in the first couple of weeks. You had this, typically the same guys. It was Nick Mason, it was Nelson, on that, but you had a couple of new guys that kind of stepped in. You had Ethan Stone, and then you also had, I think Reed Kaiser was playing tight end. You had him involved a little bit too as well.
Reed's been playing tight end this year, and he's a little undersized right now. He's only a junior, but compared to what when we had Kevin last year, who was over 200 pounds and stuff. But Reed's doing a nice job. He's getting to be a better blocker. His technique's getting better. He had a couple nice catches. And Stoney just keeps working. He's the littlest guy out there, but he's quick, and he's tough, and he just keeps playing, and he's an effective player for us.
And we have to talk about this, obviously. This place, we went kind of crazy when it happened, but right before the half, you had 16 seconds to go, I believe, right around there, and you did the hook and lateral. And I think that was just it was a great call at the time, something I don't think we'd expect something like that, but it happened. It was a great call.
Well, I told a running back coach, this might be a good time to run this, just because if we waited till the last play, then they're really expecting something and so forth. And we practiced it all the time, and they finally, had a chance. We've run it before. We ran it last year once, and I think we ran it up at the Sales.
Yeah.
And got, 20, 30 yards, so forth. So, it worked out really well. Jordan made a heck of a catch and pitched it to Stoney, and we also have another one, a lateral coming off of that to Jake if we need to, but Jake was a little behind Stoney. Stoney kind of outran everybody. But that's one of Coach Cook's inventions, and we just happened to think that was a good time to call it, and it worked out for us.
And you really saw the speed of Stone on Matt when he had that lateral, and you can just really see him take off and how you guys utilize his speed.
Yeah, well, he's one of our quicker guys, and we're trying to get him more involved and get him out in space where he can make some plays.
We knew going into the season the defense was maybe a little bit ahead of the offense. Another great game by the defense. The first team held Boone County scoreless. They got a touchdown late, but you had to be happy with the way the defense played.
Yeah, I was real happy. They had a drive right before the half where we kind of made some mistakes. We had them in, I think it was 3rd and 8, and we jumped and gave them a 3rd and 3, which then converted. Which I think if we'd have kept them in 3rd and 8, we might have been able to stop them. But overall, to stop a power running team like that, and they were bigger than us, but our guys did a great job of stepping up to the plate and fitting in where they needed to on their run fits. We tackled pretty well, and our pursuit was good. I mean, it's a high-effort bunch, and I've been very happy with them.
Yeah. On defense, like you said, they have a power running game. Oppenheimer, was a big kid, but they did a good job with him. Dan and I were talking during the game. They got behind by 4 touchdowns, and they have that big tight end that's going to Miami, and they really didn't use him very much.
No, I think Miami's going to make him an offensive lineman when he gets there. That's what I heard. Make him a center or something. He's a big kid. But Oppenheimer, he had 100 yards, but a lot of them were late.
Yep.
Probably half of his yards were against, subs when we put the second team in and things like that. And we held them to right around 200 yards total, and again they probably had maybe 70 of those in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
And things like that. So again, the defense has really stepped up, and they're going to have to keep doing that. I mean, we're getting better offensively, and we're starting to see some things that are very, very encouraging. But right now, defensively, I think we're still a little bit ahead, and they got to keep playing hard.
Chris Schindler, another good game. In fact, he had an interception that made a nice return on that ball.
Yeah, he did. Well, Chris is a little shifty too, and he's a competitive kid, and he's a little ball hawk. He goes after it when it's up in the air, and made a great interception, which was close to before the half that led to our last score.
Right.
So I think he's got 2 or 3 picks this year, and he's just doing a great job returning punts as well for us.
Yeah, you got to be pretty happy with what's going on this year. You win your first 3 games. You graduate 26 seniors.
Yeah.
You got to a lot of kids that are actually playing college ball right now. I mean, you got to be pretty happy with where you're at so far with not having so many seniors.
Well, we felt like the Oak Hills game was a real key to our season, and being able to win the first game and building some confidence. It felt like we'd be stronger than Woodward and Boone County, and so we were hoping to be 3-0 at this juncture. We thought 2-1 was a real distinct possibility, but the guys came through and they're playing well, and we are growing as a team because we're very young. I mean, we have 13 seniors at practice every day.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 kickers from the soccer team aren't there all the time, so that's a lot to put on the 13 seniors to lead that whole group of kids, and they're doing a good job. And our juniors are starting to step up a little bit, and some of the sophomores have made great improvement also since we started in July.
Was there any surprises that stick out from you, from maybe player-wise or just the overall record? I mean, are you surprised about the record being 3-0, I guess, maybe?
Well, not necessarily surprised about being 3-0. We thought that was a possibility. I guess player-wise, we're really happy with some of our defensive linemen that haven't had a lot of experience. Jesse Carell's doing a nice job, and Stephen Janes and Matt White. All those guys basically are new that didn't play a whole lot last year. And then Kyle Losif playing nose. So, I'm happy with them. I think our offensive line, which is pretty much new, I think Wayne Hartman and Nathaniel Brown and Matt Roising played some last year. And then we mentioned Reed earlier. Those guys are coming on quite a bit. And we've had the injury to Alex Black, and then we had Reinhardt step in and did a nice job as a sophomore the other night. And so, we're going to still try to build some depth on our offensive line, but really pretty happy with what they're doing. And Nick's playing pretty well at quarterback. As long as he values the ball and doesn't make silly decisions and turn it over, I think we're going to be effective throwing the football.
Speaking of the former class that you had one of them that was a senior last year that has gone on, and he is playing college ball, and that's got to be a sense of pride for you and the coaching staff that Andrew Norwell at Ohio State playing for the number 2 ranked team in the country, and we're seeing him on TV. That's got to be a sense of pride.
He's not just he's part of their team. I mean, he's on the field a lot.
I think he's their number 2 right tackle. I don't know if he played the last game or not, but I know
he played the first one. Yeah,
the first game he played a fair amount. We hear good things. He says he's doing pretty well up there, and you can still tell he's a freshman at times when you watch him, but he's a big, powerful guy that's really going to get better as he spends more time up there in practices. And then, we also got good reports from Greg Manns being up at Toledo. He's doing a good job. He's their 3rd tackle right now, so he's real close to playing. I think they're trying to redshirt him and not play him. Kyle Slater's up at Grand Rapids Community College. He's playing special teams. He said he blocked a punt this past weekend. And I think Brandon Bornhauser at Morehead State. And Kevin Becker is at Valparaiso. Kevin Cripes at Dayton. I mean, got some other guys I'm sure I left out that, at other places. But, that's what made that team so good. There was a lot of talent there.
Right. Well, then you got 2 other guys that I can think of at the top of my head that played the year before, or a couple years before. There's Tyler White and John Howard. Tyler White believes at Ohio Dominican.
Right.
And I believe he's starting, I think.
Tyler's starting at Ohio Dominican. And John, I think, is one of the 2nd or 3rd kicker at West Virginia now. He's really worked hard to get there, and Kevin Chapman's playing at Lake Erie. He's going into his 2nd year as a starter there too. So, and Breon Maps and Louis are over at Thomas More. Fortunately, Breon broke his collarbone last Saturday, so he's going to be out. I think pretty much the rest of the year.
I believe you got some guys at Mount St. Joe too.
Oh yeah, Dan Hanley's over there, and Adam Bigelow's starting at linebacker for him, and Nick Buchanan was going to play, but he had an injury, so
Jake Davis.
Jake Davis, yeah, he's been there forever. He's the running back over there. So I mean, there's a lot of Anderson guys that are contributing at the next level.
Okay, let's get back to the Boone County game. Players of the game: offense, defense, special teams.
Ethan Stone on offense, he had 44 yards rushing, and I think he ended up with like 49 yards receiving. So he had a great overall game. Kyle Payne was all over the field on defense and is really playing well. He was our defensive player, and then Ryan Ossenbeck was our snapper, and he's just really solid and did a great job at that.